Hello, once again. Welcome and welcome back. My name is Eric. This channel is called Report and Opine. I believe it to be Sunday, April 26, 2020, and they're still force feeding us this fake news nonsense narrative about bogus statistics and inflated numbers, all just to maintain power control through fear. And today, I want to look at one tweet in particular by Govenor Andrew Cuomo, old catcher's mitt face himself, that lets me know that he is not ready or willing by any stretch of the imagination to relinquish the power that has been bestowed upon him by this big, scary, deadly virus, right? So he said on April 24th, 2020, for all we know, it's only halftime. How fast the infection goes down depends on what we do now. If we rush back to business as usual, the virus will spike fast and furious. We have to be smart. None of that makes sense. How could he possibly know any of that? He's been wrong every single step of the way. He's been talking in circular logic, political platitudes on television every single day for the past 2 months at least, and people are still believing it. Do we really think that this man knows that if we rush back to business, the virus will spike fast and furious? Not may spike, not might spike, not could spike, will spike fast and furious. Don't even think about going back to work. You're going to die, says Govenor Andrew Cuomo, who still has a job. This is absolute nonsense. The hypocrisy is through the roof. We've got millions of people on unemployment versus a handful, a couple thousand who've been sick, who've died, who are feeling the pain from the virus. I'm not saying it doesn't exist, but you have to think about the millions of people struggling financially. You just rip their jobs away so that somebody in a nursing home in New Rochelle wouldn't get sick. Now, I know it sounds harsh, but nursing homes are where people go when they're about to die. I'm sorry. It's just the facts. If we're going to stop the entire world, the entire country, because someone in a nursing home might get sick, we should just throw in the towel now. Just nuke us. I don't know. I don't know what to say about it. Because from where I'm standing, where I'm sitting, it's clearly a political hit job. Do we really think that we went from nothing burger Russia collusion, turned on a dime, to Ukrainian impeachment hoax, and then they were just going to leave it there? No way. The economy was doing way too good. So we had to tarnish it. That brand, that shiny Trump trophy, that economy, that booming economy, we got to get rid of that. We got to beat it into a pulp to where it doesn't exist. Then we can blame Trump on that. We can blame Trump for that. And we can blame him for the virus because why not? Now, even though we called his early travel ban xenophobic, we can now just turn around and say, well, he didn't do enough early because us, the Democratic Party, has the news media in our pocket. So we can just air completely opposite things than we aired a month ago and just assume that nobody's going to remember what we said back then. How is this happening? Right? We have the hydroxychloroquine thing. Trump said it might work, it might not. But we just can't have that. Anything Trump said, he's not a doctor. He can't do that. You're going to die if you take that drug. Well, you told me I was going to die from the virus, so I guess I'll pick my poison, right? And now we've got everybody talking about, well, Donald Trump said that you should inject Lysol into your arm. Give me a break. No, the media took it completely out of context so that they could turn it back on Donald Trump and somehow maybe they could make him look bad, even though it backfires on them like almost everything else they do. We have the internet. We can see what you were saying, Pelosi, 6 weeks ago. We can see what you were saying 6 weeks ago, sleepy Joe Biden. And now you guys all want to do a complete 180 and say, Trump's going to kill people with hydroxychloroquine and telling people to inject Lysol into their veins. It's absolute nonsense. If you can't see that this is a political hit job by now, I do not know what to tell you. I did make a really quite epic video about the chain of events leading up to this medical catastrophe. I will encourage you to go watch that if you haven't yet. And then think about it. If none of this stuff is connected, if this is all just coincidence, Russia and Ukraine and coronavirus hoax, none of those are related, fine, let me know. But from where I'm sitting, it all looks connected, all right? And then we've got this flatten the curve goalpost moving. So we shut down everything. We shut it down because we had to flatten the curve so that the hospitals won't get overwhelmed. Okay, mission accomplished. But now you still can't go back to work because somebody somewhere might get sick. Why are we buying this? Cuomo was wrong about everything. From the ventilators that he didn't need and he sent to other states, to the hospital ship that he didn't need and is now leaving New York, to turning the Javits Center into a hospital which saw no patients, very few, if any, I should say. He was wrong about all of that stuff. He was wrong about the amount of deaths. He was wrong about the hospital system collapsing. But for some reason, we're still believing this, that in 2 weeks, in 2 weeks or a month, it's going to come back and you're going to die then. Give it a rest. They really have people thinking that fresh air is deadly and that going back to work is going to kill them. They're like, well, we know that rent and bills and food is essential, but unfortunately your job wasn't. So, sorry. It's like, how did they go from everybody's going to die to, well, actually, it's just really affecting the black and brown communities. You can't argue against that, otherwise you'd be racist. And then they flip that script and say, well, the jobless numbers, the unemployment rate is disproportionately harming the black and brown community. If you can't tell by now that this is a pure political hit job and that black people are being used as pawns, I do not have an answer for you. And then they flip the switch again, the script again, I should say, and now CNN's talking about, well, the Native American population is being, disproportionately affected. Okay, it's not rocket scientists. There's not rocket science. It's hurting everybody. Unless maybe you work for CNN, in which case you still have a job and you're still cashing these orange man bad checks, selling whatever sort of other weird prescription drugs that they put on their commercials. I just don't understand how anybody is still willing to believe this. Are we to assume that Governor Andrew Cuomo is one day going to come out of his office and say, all right, guys, it's safe. You should thank me. The air is clear now. You can take off your mask and go back to work. He's never going to do that because he is addicted to this power and he knows he can demand more money. We need more federal funding, guys. It's just not going to happen without more federal funding. President Trump isn't giving us the money we need. Miss me with all that and let everybody go back to work and stop selling them this fear like the virus is a big boogeyman right outside the door coming to get you if you even think about going to work. Didn't you hear? A little baby died. Oh my God. A fat guy, a guy who drove a bus who was 350 pounds, he died of the coronavirus. There was another woman who she took hydroxychloroquine because Trump said it would work. She also had HIV. That's the type of stuff we're dealing with here. And if you can't tell, it's driving me absolutely insane. So I'm going to leave it there. Until the next one, please do not trust a politician or a news personality as far as you can throw them. And have a wonderful morning, afternoon, or evening.